Hello everyone, welcome to the 7th episode of Draft Cakes, the only podcast that gives you all the top level limited information that you could ever need. I'm Shyler, and with me today is Tyler, as always.
Hey.
Today we're going to be doing just a pack opening, just because we couldn't figure out what we wanted to talk about, so we're just going to open the pack and really delve in deep on these cards. Today's pack is none other than Magic Origins. Is that what the set's called?
Magic Origins. It's
Yeah.
the last of the core sets.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was Origins or Magic Origins. But anyways,
Okay. We've got Night Snare, which is 3 and a black for a sorcery. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, that player discards that card. If you don't, that player discards 2 cards. So if you see something that you really, really don't like, then you can choose that card and they have to discard that card. Otherwise, you can just make them discard 2.
yeah.
If you really don't want to see something, then you pick something. If otherwise, they just discard.
Yeah, it's an overcosted sort of Thoughtseize type effect, but I like the second part of it that makes you that they can just discard 2 cards instead. But
It's closer to Mind Rot, but you have 2 modes on it.
yeah, I see. Yeah, it's just the being able to see someone's hand that's important about this.
Yeah.
You get to see information.
The cost
which
is more comparable to Mind Rot.
Yeah, you get to see information, which is really good about this card, but it's not the first pick.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Dragon Fodder. 1 and a red for a sorcery. Put 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. Very good card. I don't know that there's much to say about it. 2 mana for 2 power and 2 toughness.
Yeah, but something I learned recently that Stoneforge Masterwork, is that what that equipment's called?
Yeah.
Of the Gatewatch? It could work very well in a Goblin Tribal deck, because Dragon Fodder exists and Pile Driver exists and stuff like that. Hordling Outburst. A Mono Goblin deck would be easy. And also, something about Night Snare I forgot to mention. The flavor text, it's funny. It says, Ravnica would be safer if Mere Coin was all that Dimir could steal.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this guy's just still... this person next to his bed is just stealing this guy's mind, it looks like, or something. So
Yeah, stealing something out of his mind.
it'd be a lot safer without the Dimir, period.
Yeah. Also, there was one of the one of the kinds of decks that you could draft in this format was based around Nantuko Husk, and if you remember that, Nantuko Husk, and you had these guys and other token generators and other things that worked with Nantuko Husk.
Yeah.
And this was a big part of that deck.
Yeah, having tokens to be able to
having tokens
to sacrifice to Nantuko Husk.
You basically go wide, and then if they block certain things, you just make Nantuko Husk bigger.
Yeah, it's basically anything small or anything that makes a copy of itself or tokens or whatever.
Then we've got Water Courser, 2 and a blue for a creature, for a 2/3 creature. You can pay a blue, and it gets +1/-1 until the end of the turn.
It's half an Aetherling.
It's actually a very solid card.
It's Aetherling before Aetherling.
Good power and toughness, and you can make it do what you want it to do.
Yeah. What was the other card that does this? It's
There are quite a few cards that do this.
Yeah, there's another card. It's been in the other core sets. I can't remember what it's called. But it does the +1/+1 thing, and then you can give it flying, I think, or something like that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But anyways, there's that card, and then I can
try to find it while we're doing this. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it, and I'll mention it later in the pack. But this I'd consider half of an Aetherling.
Yeah, it's a half of an Aetherling's body with one of its abilities.
Yeah. Because Aetherling has a lot more.
Yeah, if you're comparing it to Aetherling, because Aetherling has so much more,
Yeah.
Okay. We've got Elvish Visionary, 1 and a green for a elf shaman, for a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. And this is another one that's just a really solid creature for what it is, and it draws you. It's a cantrip.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with a 2-mana cantrip.
This was, I think it was right after Origins released in Standard. This made it into Standard because it's an elf. An elf tribal was super good because of Shaman of the Pack and stuff.
Elves was a pretty big thing in draft. Like, that was an actual deck, so you could pick this up in hopes to go into that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't first pick it.
Yeah, definitely don't first pick it.
It's not first pickable.
Yeah.
If you're first picking this card, you've got your priorities off.
A 2-mana 1/1 that draws card is not...
It's a cantrip, but you don't need a cantrip that bad.
Yeah, it's a token that draws card, pretty much.
Yeah.
You'd treat it as a token. Like, you'd chump block anything.
Yeah, you play it for the card, and then it chump blocks something and possibly kills it.
Yeah.
It might get in for 1 or 2 damage if they're slow.
Yeah.
We've got Lightning Javelin. It's 3 and a red for a sorcery. It deals 3 damage to target creature or player and scry 1.
Now this spell wasn't too bad considering there wasn't another spell like Lightning Striker in this format.
Burn. There was that rare that dealt 4 for 3.
Exquisite Firecraft, right?
Yeah. Which is the best burn spell in the set because there really weren't very many. So this is definitely really good in this set, like in this draft format. This was really good.
Yeah, I mean it was worth an extra. I don't know if it's worth an extra like 2 mana to scry 1.
It's like a middle pick draft card. Like you would pick it in the middle if you needed it.
Yeah, there's a couple downsides to it though because it's sorcery speed. It's not an instant speed burn, so it's a lot slower. It's not gonna. Mm-hmm. But then putting scry on it kind of makes it worth the sorcery part.
Yeah, they added the scry.
But I mean, adding 2 more mana, whereas you could have just made this a 3-drop, would have been a lot easier to. Mm-hmm. A lot more people would have thought this would have been higher up on the chain if it was a 3-drop instead of a 4. But
I think the art is pretty cool on this.
Yeah,
it's a harpy with a spear stabbing through it, and it says the harpies descended without mercy upon Akros, only to find their attack put them within range of the Javelineers.
Put them within range. We're gonna die, guys.
Yeah. Okay. We've got Shambling Ghoul. It's 1 and a black for a 2/3 zombie. Enters the battlefield tapped.
This thing's been around for a long time, hasn't it?
Well, it's a lot like from... in M13, there was... I think it was M13. Well, there was this one black for a 2/2 zombie that entered tapped. It was either M13... It was that or one of the other core sets. Right? It was 1 black for a 2/2 that entered tapped. This is like that. But you're paying an extra colorless for an extra toughness.
Yeah. Which this guy can actually... In this format, I think he could have held up to a lot.
He was really good in this format. You know, there was there were certainly decks that could benefit from having this guy.
Like so far, he blocks either one of the creatures that we've gone through so far pretty well. So
yeah. Okay, we've got calculated dismissal. 2 and a blue for an instant counter target spell unless the controller plays 3. And then spell mastery. If there are 2 or more instant and/or sorcery cards in your graveyard, scry 2. So a lot of the time, you built decks around instants and sorceries so that you would have spell mastery up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the problem with this is that the
3 mana for counter unless they pay 3. It's just a little bit over costed mana leak.
Yeah.
But the scry 2. I mean, if you can activate the spell mastery, obviously it's way better than a mana leak.
Yeah, well, I mean, where they're at now, kind of, this isn't true all the time, but where they're at now is like at the 3-drop slot. That's kind of like counter target spell, like slot, like isn't not like for a certain unless they pay a certain amount of mana. Yeah. It's like counter target spell one like period. Like Dissolve was 3 mana. It countered a spell.
It countered a spell and exiled it. Yeah.
Scry, I thought, wasn't it?
Oh, Dissolve, yeah. Dissolve was the scry. Dissipate was the exile. And also, there's a new one in Oath that's just Dissipate, but with different name.
Yeah, and Void, right?
Yeah, but Void Shatter.
Yeah, but
Void
I mean,
Shatter.
like, do you see what I mean? Like, this 3-drop
Yeah,
slot should be a
but-
counter target spell and not like a mana leak effect. But with the spell mastery, it's
with
not
the
bad.
Scry, it is very good. It's actually really good with the Scry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This just isn't really good late game. Then this is an early counter.
Yeah.
It's
a very
like if you use
counter.
it past like turn 4, then it's not too good
No.
because they can pay 3 and it's yeah.
Okay, we've got Rock Maulers, which is 4 and a green for a 4/4, Trample Renown 2. And Renown said when this creature deals combat damage to a player, if it isn't renowned, you put 2/1 counters on it and it becomes renowned. So when it hits through for the first time, it becomes a 6/6, and then and then the renown can't happen anymore.
Yeah.
So actually, this was a really big bomb in limited at this time.
Yeah, green was actually pretty good.
Yeah, Rock Maulers was
Origins.
was one of the cool. I mean, it was one of the strongest creatures that you could get.
Yeah, a lot of people took this as a high pick in their drafts.
Yeah, I first picked it more times than I can.
Yeah,
than I can remember.
I mean, 5 mana 4/4 trample by itself is good enough. Then it becomes a 6/6 after it hits in once.
And the fact that it's got trample means that they kind of have to either block it and kill it, or else it's going to get the counters because it's got trample. It can just trample over.
If it just
so they
one
have to
damage,
block,
it still
they have to block
counters.
with something with enough toughness, which is hard on turn 6 when you'd be attacking with this.
Yeah.
In this format, because there wasn't really a lot that could.
Yeah, the core sets in general were a little slower of a thing. It wasn't a super fast
Rock Maulers
format,
is just one of those creatures that bashes through, and all it needs to do is bash through once, and then it's a 6/6, and it's pretty crazy.
And then 6/6 for 5 mana is just like Value Town.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we've got Heavy Infantry. It's a 4 and a white for a 3/4 human soldier. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature and opponent controls. Not super great, but it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's another one like Lightning Javelin. That's kind of like a middle pick draft card. If you're in those colors and it's a decent sized creature.
Yeah.
Tapping something down could really help. And you know.
Yeah, and having
in
a
certain
body with a tap down
Right.
effect is okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Exactly.
I love the flavor text on this.
It blocks Rock Maulers really well.
Yeah, it does actually.
That first hit, and then it's dead. But then, yeah, hopefully you can come up with a plan.
Well, no, you could tap it down,
yeah,
and then this still stays alive. Then you have a blocker for next turn. So 2 turns.
Well, when we're talking about if that was already out, right? Then it might have tapped it the last turn, but when it's attacking, that's Rock Maulers isn't tapped off of the ability because it doesn't have flash.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right, you can't flash it in and tap it before it attacks. If it's already out, then it can block. It just gives you an extra an extra turn without the renown to deal with it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I love the flavor text on this card. It says, "Doors, walls, skulls, it matters not. All barriers will be broken."
Yeah.
And in the art, everyone's just like, "Get out of my way."
Okay, we've got Bonded Constructs. It's one mana for a 2/1, and it can't attack alone. I mean it's a pretty good creature. 2/1 for 1 is always great, and it fits in any deck because it's colorless.
Yeah, it was a good early drop just
good.
so that you could block something just if they were fast. But.
Yeah, exactly. It was really good.
But you'd only like to take like maybe 2 at the most.
Yeah, 2 would probably be ideal.
Yeah. Any more than that, it's not very...
It blocks really well.
Yeah.
It trades up. Anything that trades up is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's move on to the uncommons.
Uncommons. Swift Reckoning. 1 and a white for a sorcery. Destroy target tapped creature. And then it has spell mastery. If there are 2 or more instant and or sorcery spells in your graveyard, it has flash. So it's basically an instant if you have spell mastery. This is one of the best, probably the best removal spell in the whole format.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, it's like this is like this is the top tier of the removal in the set.
Yeah, white tends to have some of the best removal in them.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of the time, black has good removal, but it often requires a sack effect, or you have to lose life or something like that, and that's more precious.
Yeah, or it's just more mana, like that. I'm the one with Awaken in battle, and like Hero's Downfall and Murder.
Yeah,
right. It's usually 3 mana.
Yeah,
in black.
And 2 mana.
With white, you get more variation, like more conditional stuff like this. I'm conditional like Smite, like Kill Shot. Like they have to be doing something, or you have to have something in the graveyard, and it does something special.
Yeah.
You know, these have more conditions, and black has more. You have to put more mana into it, or life into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got Call of the Full Moon. 1 in a red for an enchantment for an aura. Enchanted creature has +3/+2 and trample. At the beginning of each upkeep, if a player casts 2 or more spells last turn, sacrifice Call of the Moon. So it's a throwback to Innistrad block.
Yeah. So this card was fun to see people take it, because once someone takes it, then they want to take more of them. Yeah. Because the more you have, the better it is.
Yeah, it's
just because good. A 2 mana 2 mana to add +3/+2 and trample to a creature is just over the top.
Exactly. Yeah, you can attach this to anything with renown and get it renowned.
Yeah, because normally you don't
care about the aura anymore because it's renowned now.
Normally you don't get something like trample until you're above like 3 mana.
Yeah.
Or at 3 mana. Yeah. So 2 mana for all that power and toughness and trample is just awesome. Granted, it was pretty easy to trigger the second ability to make him sack it, because you could just cast 2 spells. Yeah. You being the opponent. And they'd have to sacrifice this enchantment, but I mean, just 1 or 2 turns, I think it hit in for half your life total.
And then we have another throwback to Innistrad block, Towergeist. 3 in a blue for a 2/2 flying. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other one into your graveyard. It's a great flyer. It's got utility. It draws you a card, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd play it.
Yeah, it's not...
Genrixed?
It's pretty decent for its mana cost, I guess. 2/2 flyer for 4, and that type of an ability. So it's basically 4 mana, draw a card, flying 2/2. So
yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Not to mention if you have graveyard manipulation, which I'm guessing there were some in the set. Was there any graveyard manipulation?
The only thing I can think of that
you could use this to throw the a piece into your graveyard to activate spell mastery.
A lot of things that I saw was like when someone got a Sphinx's tutelage, because that was in this set. They'd use Towergeist to try to find them, so that they could.
Yeah, exactly.
They could get a tutelage on the field and start milling like crazy.
Or like I'm saying, if say you only have 1 instant or sorcery in your graveyard and you need to hit spell mastery, so you throw an instant or sorcery into your graveyard.
You're playing blue-red.
Now you have spell mastery.
Yeah, you're playing blue-red and you need to cast this Fiery Impulse this turn. Yeah. You put something in a graveyard that's an instant or sorcery, and then Impulse for 4.
Yeah.
Or 3. Was it
Impulse
3?
hit for 3.
Yeah.
A target creature for 3. We have 2 black for a 3/1, and it can't. Despoiler of Souls cannot block. 2 black mana ability. Exile 2 other creature cards from your graveyard. Return Despoiler of Souls from your graveyard to the battlefield. So I mean, it's a beater that can come back.
Yeah.
You know, two black for a 3/1 that can't block. I don't know. It doesn't really survive much. It trades up, and then you can get it back, and then it trades up again.
The thing is, I think this was printed.
It trades really, really well.
I've always thought this was printed specifically for mono black devotion. Because back when this was, when we drafted this, Theros was still in standard. So mono black devotion got a little better with Despoiler of Souls and Grey Merchant.
You could also flash this guy in on the end of their turn so that you could attack on, because you can do that ability on the end of their turn. It's just a mana ability.
Yeah, so you could find some
sort of
on
the end of their turn, you can throw them in there with Towergeist.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right, and I'm sure there are a couple other things like discard outlets and stuff like that. But if he's in your graveyard, then you might as well be able to attack with him on your turn.
Yeah. So, what would you first pick, Tyler? Out of this pack?
It's definitely, for me, it's Faith Menders. You mean the Maulers? Rocks Maulers. I keep saying Faith Mender because that's another rhino creature that I remember. It's that with Swift Reckoning being a close second.
I think I would go the opposite way. I think I'd take Swift Reckoning just because I prioritize kill spells when they're in colors like white, which is so easily splashed because a lot of the removal in a lot of these sets is in white. So, splashing a white card, like that is easy and it doesn't ask for much more.
No.
So, like, you can be heavy in one color and then just throw that one card in, and
it's just very conditional. Whereas Faith Menders is just a big hitter. Sure, it might die to Swift Reckoning, which is sad, but you will get some damage through first, and 4 damage or 6 damage is huge.
Yeah,
especially late.
Yeah, I guess it just depends if you want the creature or if you want the kill spell, I guess. It depends on what kind of deck you're drafting, but just really quick before we go, wanted to talk about our drafts this week. Did you draft at all this week?
Did not do any drafts this week.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll just talk.
Played EDH that one day, and that was it.
Oh, okay. Well, I did a draft earlier today. I did an Oath of the Gatewatch Battle for Zendikar draft. So I basically was a green-blue colorless deck. Because my first pack, I opened an Endbringer, and then saw a whole bunch of blue and green cards, and started taking stuff like that. And then I found Slip Through Spaces, which I took. And then in the second pack, I ended up getting a Thought-Knot Seer in my pack. And then getting past the Red Surge Dragon, which I didn't know why someone wouldn't take it, but I couldn't take it, of course, because I was already in green-blue. Well, I was thinking about 3 different decks within the first pack because I got past a Weapons Trainer and a Cliffhaven Vampire. So I was like, yeah, I could go either way. And then I ended up realizing that equipment deck would have been fine because Weapons Trainer early, and then later that troll guy that equips an equipment for 0 onto him.
Yeah.
Came around, and then more bone saws, and then more equipment, and it was just flowing with a whole bunch of different decks. And I didn't end up doing too well. I had a fun deck. It was really fun to play it, but I also ended up with 2 Walker of the Wastes and 2 actual Wastes. But when by the time I could cast those creatures, I already had a Wastes out. So it was at least a 5/5 for 5 with Trample, which is awesome. So, like I said, I didn't do too well. I went 0 and 3. And yeah, 3 drop.
Yeah, I'm not a huge. I mean, overall, out of all of the I think I'm way better at when we draft triple of one set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're drafting two different sets together, even if it's meant to be like Oath and Battle is, or like any first and second set is, like I just don't do as well. I don't do well at all.
Yeah.
You know, I did way. In fact, I 3-0'd some drafts in Battle. Right now, I can't barely win. I think on Magic on MitGo, I'm just gonna end up going back to triple BFZ until triple Innistrad is out. I might give up on second sets, guys.
Give up on them? Why?
On second set, on drafting second sets because
well, yeah, but you could.
I lose way more often.
But the only way to get better is to keep doing it.
Is to keep throwing money at it. Keep throwing them. So basically, he's saying keep throwing money at the problem until it fixes itself.
No,
that's exactly what he said.
Okay, maybe that is what I said, but I didn't mean it in that light. I meant
magic is money.
If you fail, try again.
Like I said, throw money at the problem.
Yeah, I guess that's exactly what I was saying. Alright, guys. Well, we're going to let you go. Thank you all for watching. You can follow me at ShyGuys768 on Facebook and Twitter, and subscribe to me on YouTube under that same name. And you can follow Tyler on his YouTube page.
Yeah, my YouTube is The Edge 452. Twitter is Tyler A. Hill 7918, and Instagram is Tyler Hill 452. No, it's just Tyler 452 on Instagram.
Okay, cool.
Nothing else is important.
And again, sorry for the shorter episode, but we will be back next week with
we're going to talk about lore.
Yeah, with some lore. So stay tuned for that, and we will have Jeff back on to podcast to talk about lore. But until we meet again, may you all draw well, but most of all, have fun.